Hey everybody, this your girl B Fly, host of the Beautiful Butterfly Show, and I am on S.T.A.R.V.E Talk with J Haleem.
Studio with J Haleem.
I'm in the studio with J Haleem.
I'm in the studio with J Harry.
I am in the studio with J Haleem. I'm in the studio with J Haleem.
You are now in the studio with J Haleem. What's up, y'all? It's your boy J Haleem. We are on another episode of S.T.A.R.V.E Talk. And listen, I got this beautiful sister here with me. I am so happy to have her on this show today because, again, I've told her off camera, I'm telling you on camera, she is one of the dopest interviewers that I've encountered. And I've interviewed people, I've been interviewing with people all over the nation and all over the world, a few people on the other side of the world. So I'll call it all over the world now. I'm upgrading myself. But no, she actually made me feel so good on her show. And I just seen what she's doing. I've been following her ever since, and what she's been able to do with other individuals and highlighting other individuals, especially in the entrepreneurial space, the author space. Man, she just a jewel. And I wanted her to bring some of those gems to S.T.A.R.V.E Talk. And so if you don't know who I'm talking about, I'm talking to the Miss Lovely Bianca Fly of the B Fly Radio. Did I say that right?
Yeah, the Beautiful Butterfly Show. Yep.
That's right. Beautiful Butterfly Show. Listen, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to talk to you. How you been?
I have been doing phenomenal, trying to kick off this new and interesting year in a great way. So I'm trying.
That's a good way of putting it. New and interesting.
Yes. Definitely.
So again, as I was telling people about your show, about me being interviewed, but let's take them back to the beginning. What made you decide to go ahead and say, this is the type of show I want to do?
Yeah. Well, originally I started off working with other people and kind of being a co-host for other people on their show. And so different things that they were talking about, I said, it's got to be more to this than these topics. You know what I mean? And so I came across people, poets, music artists, and just everyday people who had stories to tell, and so I said, I want to create a platform where people feel comfortable to come on here and just let it flow, and share their story. And so that's what brought on the Beautiful Butterfly Show. And so once I got into it, at first it became, oh, this is just something, to do. But then it became a passion of mine and something I enjoyed doing. So
I love it. So what about your background? Do you have, any journalism background, or, was you trained? Did you want to always do something like this in journalism, or you were going in another direction and you pivoted?
Yeah. No, I definitely didn't do any training. For me, I have studied sociology and psychology. And so for me, going into journalism was definitely something new. But I knew I had a lot to share when it came to various topics. And I knew that I knew a lot of people who had been through some things and could have those conversations. So that's what kind of molded everything together. Looking back at it, I probably should have went into radio, in some type of way, journalism, but here we are.
No, but I mean, the psychology portion and not knowing that, but now knowing that, I can see how that benefits you because you're very, very, precise with your questions. I can see how you're digging in, to individuals. You get do well with getting people to open up to you. So psychologists do that.
Yeah.
But also, it's just a good situation to show individuals how you can get trained in one situation, but you can reverse engineer it to make it work for you in another way. So
absolutely.
Tell us what you wanted to do, before doing this. What was your goals? What was something that you wanted to do?
Oh, wow. My goal was to, at one time, I thought about actually going and working in the prison system as a counselor, and so my husband was like, sure, like, do you know what, what goes on, inside of there and the pressure and all of that. And so I said, yeah, I think I'm ready. So I was pretty much set on, I was going to do some type of counseling therapy with people. And so over time, I began to just notice the platforms that were out here, because at the time I was listening to a lot of podcasts and radio shows. And so I said, there has to be a platform out here for people to share their story, because not all of us, just woke up one morning and, were famous and,
Oh man.
had everything we needed. And so I
Mhm.
wanted to hear people who literally, got it out the mud and was, working to do great things every day. So, and that's where I am now. So I do that. And then I'm also, a lot of people didn't know, I'm a preschool teacher. So
Wow.
I did that as well. So I was actually able to get a lot of inspiration from talking to parents, in the classroom, to things that some of my kids were dealing with at the time. So,
Yeah. Listen, I did not know that part. I didn't. I wouldn't have picked that part. But listen, this is why you need to find these things out. And also, as an
right.
illustration that people, it's okay to not know exactly what you want to do in the beginning. You definitely have
Yeah.
to have an exploratory phase.
Yeah.
Most people that get to a point in their life and in their 30s or something like that, and they don't know what they want to do, typically is
Right.
because they haven't experienced a lot of things. They haven't
Right.
tried enough things. And so
Yeah.
hearing that from you now, somebody's a preschool teacher or somebody's working in the prison, say, hey, you don't want to do that forever. You can start a podcast or your own radio show.
Yeah. Absolutely, because so many of us go to college, and we get degrees, and I have a lot of friends who have degrees in great fields, but they're not working in it, because maybe over time their mindset changed, or they were no longer interested in it, trying to feel that fulfillment. And so my mom, one of the things she always instilled in me is to find something that you're happy and content, in doing. You want to grow and to different levels in it, but find something that really makes you happy,
Love it.
so
I love it.
that's what I strive for. Yeah.
Yeah. So how important was that for you now, looking back in hindsight? Because again, everybody talks about the passion, the passion, the passion. However, a lot of people can't, differentiate the part of taking care of business and taking care of their homes as opposed to passion. They feel like it has to be one or the other. You have to
Yeah.
be totally going after your passion, or, you're breaking the bank and making all the money. So how do
Yeah.
you marry the two?
It could be interesting at first, because it was just me and my husband. And so I was able to, a lot of people didn't know, like behind the scenes, I'm making dinner, getting ready for an interview. And then so when I got pregnant with my daughter, I did the radio the whole time. Up until pretty much before I got ready to have her. So I was, getting ready for a new baby, trying to, okay, what's this new thing of motherhood going to be like? And so once she came, I kind of took a break because I wanted to focus, on her and what was going, just being a motherhood in that motherhood role. And so I encourage women and men also to definitely find that balance of the two. Don't get so overwhelmed with stuff that things get neglected. A lot of times people get into different things and your spouse may get neglected because you're working so hard. Your children,
Yeah.
As you travel, so sometimes our kids, they are kind of off to the side while we're out here, we're hustling and grinding for them, but trying to find that balance. So for me, I try to find that balance. When I first started doing my show, I did shows 3 times a week, which was heavy.
Yeah.
And so I had to knock it down because I had to realize I needed to have that balance of being a wife, being a mother, and just taking care of myself,
Yeah.
not getting lost, in that.
But I have to give you your props because again, you are so 100% business with it. Like, a lot of, like you said, people won't know. People won't know that, you got to take care of these kids, your kids, your husband, all the other stuff. It's just like,
Yeah.
and then you're so locked in on the person that you're dealing with at the time.
Right.
And so a lot of people are so, oh, I got this going, I got that. Like your show is about that for that time. It's about the person who you're interviewing. And that's an amazing gift. What do you attribute that to?
I attribute that to people want to feel great where regardless of where they are. So many of us who wish that somebody took the time to just listen, to focus on them, because now we're caught up in the hustle and bustle of things and people don't take the time to focus on things. So when you have somebody who is willing to come on your show and share their life with you, why not focus on that? If I knew, if I was in their position like I am now, I would want somebody to focus and be into me. I've listened to a lot of shows over the years, and I'm like, yeah, that person knows nothing about the person that they're interviewing. They haven't taken that time. And I think, one of those things, you have to take the time to invest in the people who are investing in you. So
Totally agree. So you've been doing this for quite a while now, about almost 12 years or so.
Yeah.
So in 2010, because I was started the blogging scenario at that time, and that was like the black blog boom. Say that three times fast, right?
Yeah.
And so this is with the Vlad TVs, the Jasmine brands, and this is 50.coms and all those things started. And so what have you seen change since then to now?
From then to now, we have this, the
digital,
the face-to-face. We got Facebook. We have, TikTok, Snapchat, you name it. You have all these different outlets, and so you also find that people go after, the hottest thing, the hottest trend or whatnot that's out, going after that. Other people don't get to shine because we're only focused, on those hot things at the time. And so you have seen media and blogging expand greatly over the years. I've seen some pretty heavy hitters talk about stuff that I talked about on my show, 5-8 years ago. So it's interesting to see how things evolve. At the time, I had a good friend of mine out of Atlanta. He was like, "You're like the Oprah of this thing." And so, because I talked about different things, and at that time I didn't see it, but now I'm like, maybe he was right.
No, it's just amazing. Again, I started blogging at that time, and I saw the shift. And one thing I've seen is like people are literally forgetting about getting their own website and all that other stuff. They're blogging straight from Instagram. They're blogging straight from Instagram, and that's been nuts. How has it helped your business, or how has it hurt your business with all of the new changes?
Well, for me, this is new. So for years, and some of the people who are loyal to the show can tell you, most people didn't know what I looked like because I did not get on video. Everything was voice, people listening to me. And I like that because a lot of times, especially now with social media, people get hooked up on, your looks, how you present yourself and all of these things. And so that can be distracting for people, when people get caught up into that. One of the things that has kind of hurt sometimes is that people don't feel like, okay, well, I need to go to, as you mentioned, these higher brand, these higher people who are out here, I need to go to them. Well, then what happens is they go to them, they get rejected, or they may do a show, but it wasn't good. It wasn't what they wanted.
Yeah.
So then they come back to me like, hey, I want to, come back around. And so it's interesting to see people go after what we call like the heavy hitters.
Yeah. Shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
I think that hasn't changed. Because I remember when I started, I was in DC, and it was always who are you, and why should I be on your platform? And one of the most amazing things that happened to me is I went to LA, and so many people that were actually doing some things gave me a shot. But the people who wasn't really doing anything was giving me a hard time. So
absolutely.
That's like the craziest thing in the world. So you still seeing that to this day?
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it also is that you have people, the support that sometimes you get from fellow people who are in the same realm that you're in. it's lack thereof, which is sad because you would think that people, would want to support you and want to see you doing great, but then you find yourself in the midst of a competition that you had no idea that you were in, So I've had some radio hosts who, have even told other people not to come on my platform, for whatever reason. And I was just like, wow, so sometimes it can be, kind of grueling.
Yeah, I totally understand. And again, they
Yeah.
always say if you're not doing a good job, then you won't have nobody trying to stop you. So obviously,
Right.
obviously you're doing a good job and you're making an impact.
Yeah.
So after 12 years, coming in 12 years, what's one of the biggest interviews, not from a stature standpoint, but the one that hit you, that you always remember? What's one of those ones that you always remember, like, wow, this is, maybe you changed somebody's life, or, maybe it changed your life?
Yeah. One of the ones I did years ago that still stick out to me is Mildred Muhammad. So she was married to the DC sniper.
Wow.
And so that was huge.
That's
It
a
was
huge
huge
one.
because it was one of those people that I was thinking, she's not gonna come on my show. She's been on,
Everywhere.
CNN, and
Yeah.
yeah, she's not gonna come on here. So, but she was gracious. She came on, and it was one of the first shows like I actually cried in the midst of interviewing her, because to hear the things that she experienced, from him, personally coming after her to kill her, and so, and the things that happened to her during that process, and she was just so open about it. She held nothing back. And so I felt honored for someone to share so much with somebody like me,
Wow.
And so I always remember that till this day. And it was probably one of the highlights. Yeah, definitely.
That's a big deal. And I got a story about that because it was funny. I was in college. I was about to graduate college when that was happening.
Yeah.
And my wife's from DC, and we going to college. We're going to we're actually going to Jersey, but we had to stop. We always stop in DC on the way riding up 95. Yeah. And so we literally, that morning that he got caught, we were on our way up there. We said we mapped out literally where we were going to stop and where we wasn't going to stop.
Yeah.
That morning, I'm serious. We got up ready to get on the highway by 5 o'clock in the morning. It's all over the news that the DC sniper had been caught. Yeah. And so I'll never forget that day. We were getting prepared to get on the road. We said, listen, we're gonna drive up. We're gonna get our gas right before we cross get out of North Carolina, because we'll be able to drive straight through Virginia and Maryland with the type of car we had. And we usually stop in DC, but we wasn't going to stop this time. We were just going to go all the way to Jersey, but we was going to stop once we got out of Virginia and Maryland. And so just to hear that, that's crazy. That was something that, this country would never forget.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So.
This is the big question. Before before the reveal, did you think they were black or white?
Before the reveal, yes. I definitely thought they were white, because I was like, we don't do that. That's not us. And so when I saw him, I kind of did one of those, why it has to be us,
You messing it up for everybody. Listen, I just knew that was some crazy white man running around and just losing it. And I said, are you serious? I
was like, this has to be a joke. This can't be real. Like, I'm looking at all the police and they got their guns out, and and I'm like, this has to be a joke. This can't be real. This can't be.
But no, that's crazy. But that is a big one. That's amazing. And I can see how that would affect you. So after doing something like that, and going into this situation, did it tell you that, hey, I'm going down the right path? Did that give you some reassurance?
Oh, definitely. I think one of the things, when I first started, I wouldn't reach out to people that I considered, famous or celebrity or, up there in the interview status, because I felt like I'm not big time. I'm not, I'm not on, TV and people not seeing me. But the fact that people take their time to respond and giving me a chance shows me that I'm definitely doing something right. I've had a lot of great people come through, people, poets who've been on Def Comedy Jam, and people who are, wives, ex-wives of celebrities who come on and share their lives with me, and the listeners. And so I'm always appreciative of that, of people just giving me an opportunity, because they don't have to. But I think at the end of the day, people respect a person and a platform where they feel comfortable, they
Yeah.
feel, loved on, and they feel like they're that main person at that time. People like being in those type of environments, so that's what I try to give people.
You definitely do. As someone who's been on your platform, you definitely do.
Yeah.
We're in a world of, especially with our men and women, that we're at odds. And so is it a situation because you are a woman and you have a female platform, was
Mhm.
for everybody, but do you feel like
Yeah.
one gender is gravitating to you more, or do you try to make sure that, you have an even, distribution?
Yeah. I definitely try to mix it up a bit. But men, yeah, over the years, men, I don't know. I've had some men, but I haven't had a whole lot. And I'm always going after, men to come on the show and to share their topics, and so, or whatever they have going on. And so that's been, and which is one of my challenges, for myself this year, to definitely get more men on. And so I think more women have a tendency to gravitate towards me, to come on here. But I want men to know as well, you're welcome. It's a great platform. And I think sometimes men can be a little hesitant, because they don't know, as a female, how I'm going to respond to some things that they may have said. And I've had those heated conversations on relationships and, women versus men. So hey, I'm ready for
What
the
was that
match.
like? What was that like? 'Cause
Those were always interested. I remember in my early days, I used to get inboxes and messages like, you just go after the women and support them all the time, from men kind of getting upset in those relationship conversations. And so, but it was always interested. And I feel like it's needed. I feel like, women and men, we need to have, these conversations to show people that, we can talk about anything.
Yeah.
We don't have to think alike. We can share our opinions and, love each other at the end of the day. It doesn't have to be a hateful thing.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I asked that because, again, I see a lot of that in all of
Mhm.
any business that I'm in. I'm seeing
Yeah.
a lot of women gravitating to women. Now, I do see the
Yeah.
brothers gravitating to the women when they open up to them, because, again,
Hmm.
because brothers it's hard to support other brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know why, but I do see
Yeah.
women supporting brothers, and then I see women definitely supporting each other. So I'm
Hmm.
trying to figure out, because for me, I'm in that space where I don't want it to seem like is I always have
Right.
women on my platform.
Right.
And it's not that I don't want to talk to brothers. It's just that, again, they give me more of the who are you? What have you
Hmm.
done?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
gotta kind of over qualify yourself before
Absolutely.
they say yes.
Absolutely. It's pretty much like, I want to see your resume. What have you done?
Yeah.
Who you work with? And I'm like, look, I don't have time.
A blood sample, COVID test, everything before you
Yeah. Yeah.
your vaccine card. And I'm sitting there like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I'm trying to give you
Yeah.
a platform.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it definitely is a challenge, to get men. And what's interesting, I've had a lot of men over the years listen to my show, send me messages and emails about my show. But to actually come on and have a conversation, that's where the challenge is sometimes. So you know, hopefully we'll get a little better at that this year.
I think it will. I think it will. I mean, again, what you've been able to do, again, just your style of interviewing, and we'll talk about that. Your style, because a lot of people, it's very, very like they're watching the time. They're not engaged, and so
Mhm.
for you, your prep. Walk us through your prep situation, because you know, I'm like, how she know that about me? So walk us through your prep.
Yeah, I definitely do my research on the person. I want to get to know who I'm interviewing. Like, I don't want to just, okay, I know nothing about this person, because it used to be people would send me, and they still do, their press kit. So it has all this information on where you was born, where you graduated, what degrees you have, which is great. But outside of that, what is going on with you? So I want to know, besides, your resume, your pretty press kit that you take the time to do, what's going on with you. So I do my research. Most of the authors that have come on my show and music artists, I own their books in my library behind me. I've purchased, now I can't, I'll go broke purchasing everybody's stuff, but most people, I can say I do own a piece of something that they have, and so, or a product that they're pushing. And so I try to take the time to study, the person that's coming on. As far as the questions, I don't write down my questions. Everything is off the cuff. Yeah. So, and for me, that's been number one for me, because I don't want things to sound rehearsed.
Yeah.
I did that one time, and I won't mention the guest, but they were a music artist. And so they wanted, pretty outline of questions. Mm-hmm. So they came on, and I mixed up stuff, but they couldn't follow the flow, because they thought, okay, question number one, this is what she's going to ask me first. And, so they were thrown off. Yeah. And so I told myself, never again. So when people, email me and they're like, can we get an idea of what kind of questions? I'm like, no, like, I'm not going to, and I want people to know, I'm never going to ask you anything invasive. Yeah. Or that's going to offend you or put you, in a certain position. And I find that when you don't do that, people open up to you more. You may even get more out of an interview just because you don't ask those questions.
Yes. It's a breath of fresh air, because people are thirsty and they want, tabloid, tabloid happy and all that other stuff.
Absolutely.
So, and it's important to know that too. So, and I've, like I said, I witnessed and I watched plenty of interviews, and of course you interviewed me and my family. Mm-hmm. It's just one of the things I said, wow, she's really paying attention to what's going on, and you're asking what people want to get out. Yeah. Secretly, we want to get that stuff out, but it's your job to go ahead and find it. And so you're doing it. I mean, you're definitely very, very great at what you do. And I know a lot of people don't give out their flowers, but I definitely got to give you your flowers on that. And so for you going forward, how do you upgrade from where you already are? How do you take it to the next level?
Yeah. So taking it to the next level. So my upgrade was pretty much last year when I started coming on camera and catching people off surprise, because they're like, oh my goodness. So that is another upgrade for me. And the next one will be just expanding, getting more people of different, cultural backgrounds and all those things to come on the show, and all those great things, but also, getting out here and getting into the community. So one of the things I want to do, kind of like what you do, when you go out, you're always out in the community. And I always am excited to see that, because I'm one of those people that I want to do that, but I haven't worked up my nerve. People kind of think you kind of crazy when you walk up to them in the community, you start asking, questions and this and that and the third. So that's my pretty much my next challenge, just to get out within the community, and let people know. My husband and my mom, they're like my top people, and my daughter. So my daughter goes to school, tell everybody, my mama has this radio show, and so, but they're always telling me, let people know who you are.
That's good.
And for me, that's hard, because I don't want to come off as like, so that's my challenge, is to get out here more, and let people know about the show, let people know I'm here, and they have this platform.
Let me tell you something. Your family will be your greatest promoters. I know my daughter, and my son, literally, I've walked into school with them and, oh, your
Yeah.
dad does this, your dad does that. And oh my
Yeah.
God. And if she see me, I remember my daughter's one of my greatest things for her, that she told me story. She told me is that she met the mayor of the city was at the school. And she
Oh,
said,
wow.
you know, my dad. And he said, who's your dad? And then she told him, oh yeah, I know Jay and everything. And she was good for the rest of the day. My dad knows
Yes.
the man. My dad knows the man. She was
Yes.
bouncing off the wall with that. So that was about 3 or 4 years
Absolutely.
ago. So yeah, I totally get it. Let them continue to promote you because
Yeah.
you're not gonna make a lie
Absolutely.
out of.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it feels good to have people who are invested in what you do and
yeah,
supporting on what you do. And so sometimes that comes in the form of strangers.
yes,
My big supporters have been people that some of them I have never met other
yeah,
than, social media. Some people I've had the pleasure of um meeting in person, and pretty much before the pandemic, that was one of my things, is to try to get out and go when people were having things that I could get to that were close by, and travel to and interact with people,
yeah.
and I think we need more of that. So I'm hoping that things will open back up and get better where we can start connecting with people face to face, hopefully soon. So
Yeah.
yeah,
What state are you in right now?
I'm in North Carolina.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
listen, North Carolina is not you know, the South has been like sometime acting
Mhm.
like COVID never existed.
Right, right. You're right.
So
You're
the
right.
South has been acting like it hasn't existed. So it just
Yeah.
you being responsible and saying I'm not going to be around everybody and mess around.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, people act like I'm like, have we been cleared? Has there been something sent out that I didn't get the memo on? Because especially with the new year, people have really just kind of been, doing their own thing. So
Yeah, yeah, and they're already having conversations talking about in the near future dropping the mask ban on airplanes. And
wow.
so that's going to be a crazy situation. So this is something I
Yeah.
want to definitely talk to you about because
Mhm.
this is what people need to know. I think
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
coming into a space now, or you've already crossed into the space where you're charging. What brought you to that point, and how has it been for you?
Ha. Yeah. So at first I didn't. For several years, I did not. And I never thought about it. And so one of my friends who also does radio, he says, "How much are you charging these people to come on here?" And I'm like, "Charging? Not charging me, And so never thought about it. So when it comes to promotion, advertising, sponsorships, or just people coming on as guests or whatever, sometimes um I started it because I know now. And one of the things Tamika Sims told me, she had contacted me probably a year ago, so about a client, and I gave her this price, and I kind of said, "Well, we can kind of work around." She said, "No, you know your worth,"
Yeah,
and so I took that and I carried that, and people don't understand. It's me, I'm pouring in this time,
yeah,
graphic, all these different things, I'm paying and I'm pouring into it. So I feel like I'm worth people paying me,
yeah,
for my time and my platform. The challenge has been is that it seems like no matter how low your price is compared to others, some people still don't want to spend that coin on you.
yeah,
They better go buy those Jordans, or whatever, but they won't take that time to invest in them. So my thing has been, I've had some people who, once I told them a price, I never heard from them again, which is fine,
yeah,
because eventually you'll come around,
yeah,
word mouth spreads and say, "Hey, I've been on the Beautiful Butterfly Show and I had a great time." And so, now I'm going to give her that shot. And so sometimes it has a tendency to kind of turn people away, because sometimes people don't want to pay for their investment. But when people start seeing the value that they get out of being on something, I think they'll be more inclined to, invest in that. So, for those people who, think I'm charging like out of the box,
Yeah.
hey, it's okay. But I think that as people, we know what we worth. Your hat, your shirt, you didn't get that for free. Nobody
Not
was
at
saying
all.
like, okay,
Not
you
at
know,
all.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Great advice
yeah,
by Tamika Sims too. Get right
yeah,
with Tamika. So shout out to her. But yeah,
yeah,
it's one of those things that, I asked that question because it's always taboo. Like people get used to getting something, no matter how
yeah,
good it is, for free. And it's like
yeah.
that you a cardinal sin, you done
Hmm.
broke all the rules in the in the
All the
Bible and
rules.
everything. Like
Yeah,
ask them for $2. And
yeah.
then
I mean, I
then
had a guy, actually, he was managing a music artist, and I told him my price, and he said, I've never had to pay for him to come on a platform or to get advertisement. I'm like, well, he gonna pay today or
gotta
he
pay
not,
today.
you know.
You gotta
Yeah,
pay today. And that's
yeah,
not, again, I've been in that space with the music back in the day.
yeah,
And I remember and even my artists would be like, yeah, let's get on this for free. And then, but you want to, you ain't have a problem with you trying to get me to pay $2,000 to be on World Star.
right,
And I'm like,
right,
well,
right.
I said, what you're missing is this platform is going to focus completely on you.
Absolutely.
World Star, you're going to give them $2,000. It's probably
Yep.
more than that now, but back in the day, and they're going to put you in this blog role that nobody's going to see because nobody knows
Right,
you. And
right.
so they're not just going to click on you, even if it is 200 million people looking at it. And even if you
Absolutely.
do, they're going to be like, all right, well, whatever, he was all right, but they're not going to keep chasing you.
Yep.
It takes time. And
Yeah.
so they don't get that part. But I'm like, you have a platform here that's going to be like, they'll give you a whole hour. They'll ask you
Whole hour.
everything. They meet your kids, your wife, everything like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
you won't want to give them a quarter, but you'll give
Yeah.
$2,000 to the people who not going to be thinking about you.
Absolutely.
And so,
Absolutely.
I asked that
Yeah.
question because a lot of people get it misconstrued about this. You're running a business.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're investing in it. We got mics that we're investing in, lights, camera, all these different things that
Your
we're investing.
time.
Your time. Your time is definitely one. And so, I say to those people, think about it from the broader spectrum of things, on where things can go. I've had people who may have just wrote a book, and they may not make much money from that book, but once they came on the show, somebody else heard their story, made a purchase. They referred somebody else or whatever it may be. So you have to look at the broader, picture of things. Definitely.
You find yourself in these conversations about price points and charging, doing more
Yeah.
educating than doing business?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because sometimes people just don't fully understand. And then sometimes people feel like, oh, well, she thinks she a little better now, because she's trying to charge. And it's like, well, I'm just trying to continue to be great and provide a
Yeah.
great platform. By you investing, you're making it greater, and
Yeah.
your things in return will blossom as well. And so a lot of times, you have those back and forth conversations with people, but at the end of the day, I just feel like if the Beautiful Butterfly Show is the platform that you want to come on, you're going to get there. If that's stacking up your coins till you can get on there, then that's fine. I have advertisements and sponsorships of all different price ranges, really.
Yeah.
Because I don't try to hit, and that's one of the things about me, I don't try to hit people over the head, with crazy, prices, but I do know my personal investment and time into this. And so I want to, get some of that back.
Definitely. I think that you should. So
Yeah.
why do you feel like it's so difficult to get people to understand, in the investment in themselves, that
Mhm.
part?
Because it goes back to what you were saying. So many of us are used to people just doing stuff for free.
Mhm.
We've gotten this mindset that everything is supposed to be free. Well, I don't know about you, but I can't walk into Walmart and say, well, I'm just gonna take this milk, for free because it's here, and I need it,
Yeah.
and so I think people have to really understand the value that we're all valuable,
Yeah.
because we may be at different stages in our lives and on different paths. It doesn't make you invaluable.
Yeah.
You're just as valuable as I am, and
Yeah.
so forth. And so when people begin to understand that, but there's this challenge that where people just feel like, honestly, we're just supposed to give them things and do them things, especially people that we know,
Oh my
and may
God.
have been rocking with us a long time. Yo,
This is the main one.
you gonna let me come through on the show, or you gonna let me advertisement? Well, what does that benefit for me? Like,
It's
so,
nuts. It's nuts with that. So yeah, we're clear that everybody's going through the same thing. When you start to try to
yeah,
charge and try to step up their game, the
definitely,
people is you go to another level of a customer though. Those
yeah,
people begin to not be a customer, and that's
right,
totally fine. And that's a part
right,
of the name of your show. It's called The Beautiful
yeah,
Butterfly. So I wanted
yeah.
to ask about that. Why that name? Why did you come up with that name?
Well, as you can see, I love butterflies. But butterflies are free. They fly all around. They
Not the
come in
price
different
free. There's other kind of free, y'all.
Well, yeah, not free. Yeah. But they roam as they please. They come in different colors and textures and styles. And so that's how I believe in opening my platform to people of all different walks of life. A lot of times, because I am a Black female radio host, sometimes people feel like I only cater to Black people, which I don't.
Yeah.
I actually cater to people of all different cultures, and I've had different cultures on my show from years from all over the country. But when it came to the Beautiful Butterfly Show, I just felt like it sounded like a place of peace,
Yeah. I love
and
that.
embracement. And so that's what I like to bring. And so there, hence the name.
No, I love that. I love that. I love that. So you being a Black female in radio,
Mhm.
doing
Mhm.
your own thing.
Yeah.
Is it a hard thing for someone else to do, to follow in your footsteps, to become a radio host, a Black female, or anyone, but definitely a Black female, becoming a radio host and following in your footsteps?
Mhm. I don't think so. I think as long as you take it in for what it is. A lot of times people get into these things because I've seen a lot of people create shows and podcasts over the years that didn't last as long,
Yeah.
because we want that instant gratification. We want to blow up overnight. And for some people, I've seen some people who started at the same time that I have, who are on major radio shows in different states. And I'm proud of that, and I'm rooting for them. It doesn't make me less than because I'm at this stage, but I think that as women, especially as Black women, we have to know that we're needed out here.
Yeah.
Our voices are needed. We have so much to share on the things that we deal with on just being a woman, period, and especially a Black woman. So I think that as long as you're invested in what you're doing and it's a passion of yours, and you're not out here to, wreak havoc on people,
Yeah.
I think that it will go well, for people. But I think you just have to be invested in what you do, because, it has its ups and downs when it comes to this industry, but you have to be up for those challenges.
And you said a powerful word with industry, because,
Mhm.
a lot of times people can just literally just pick up a computer, a microphone or whatever, and just
Right.
start doing stuff and call
Right.
themselves something.
Yeah.
What's going to make that person become actually a
Mhm.
radio host in 2022 now,
Yeah.
as opposed to maybe just a podcast, or maybe you just talking freely on your platform?
Right.
What differentiates them, make them into a radio host?
I think it's when it goes back to that investment part, when you've made the investment in yourself. For you, And I'm trying to get to you because you're a walking brand. You know, you're representing your brand everywhere you go. For if it's a hat or if it's a t-shirt or shoot a pair of socks, whatever the case
You
may
got that
be, you're
right.
representing your brand. And so I think a lot of times people have to realize that not only do we sit behind a screen, but we're doing things within our community.
Yeah.
One of the things yesterday I did at my church, I handed out masks and at-home COVID tests for people to be able to take at their homes. Because although bans are lifting, we're still in the midst of pandemic and things are spreading. So we
Yes.
have to stay vigilant and safe on top of those things. So getting out here within your community and seeing the changes that you can make within that. And so I think that, yeah, like you said, it's easy for anybody to go get a computer, a beautiful light, camera, and all of that. But what you're doing, will it make a difference in people's lives? You
Yeah.
know, at the end of the day, that's what you want. And one of those things that I did a show on prostate cancer awareness years ago. And so it was a man who messaged me and he said, "Thank you so much for doing that show." He said
Mhm.
he hadn't been and got a prostate exam in over 15 years, and he was an elderly man.
Yeah.
And so when he went just in time for early treatment because he was in the early stages of prostate cancer.
Wow.
By listening to the show, what was going on, the signs and symptoms, it encouraged him to go to the doctor to get checked out. And so he was able to get that early prevention and something that could have progressed into something a lot worse.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to understand that when we get behind these mics and these screens, you know, our voice serves a purpose. So you have to make sure that whatever you say and do, you know, it goes in a positive way with people.
I love it. I love it. Listen, I told y'all we upgrading in here, right? I told y'all we upgrading. Listen, my show used to be called In the Studio with J Haleem because,
Yeah.
again, that's who I am, and I lived in my studio. I always lived in my studio, and people before the pandemic, they would come in and sit with me in my studio and have a conversation.
Yeah.
But we've elevated, to what's called now S.T.A.R.V.E. Talk, and it's this acronym for Stand Tall and Reclaim Victory Every Day.
Mm.
And because of the fact that, and one of the reasons I wanted to purposely get people on my platform that understands that. And I truly believe that you are somebody who does, because I watch how you interact with other individuals. I listen to your purpose and your reason behind doing the work that you do. But what does that acronym mean to you? Stand tall and reclaim victory every day. What does that mean to you?
I think that's interesting that you said that. I just made a video about about something similar to this, but I believe it means that even during your most troubling seasons of your life, to stand firm on your belief, and try to remain positive and keep on going. A lot of times we get knocked down, and I'm one of those people that I've had those challenges that come up with just in life general, and I take me a break, and I come back refreshed, renewed to make something greater happen again. And so for that, it means, throughout those challenges throughout life and those things that may come your way, you keep on pressing. You keep on pressing through, and doing great things, and never stop, and never allow people or the world itself to throw you off balance. It's okay to get knocked down, but we definitely got to get back up, refresh yourself and start over again.
I love it. I love it. Y'all heard it from her, the one and only B Fly. It's it's really important to me, again, in this season, to have individuals like that, because if this goes on brand with I Won't Starve, with changing mindsets, changing lifestyles. And that's where it has to happen, in the grassroots and the ground floor. I don't know where it's going to go. I know that we're going higher. At the same time, I know that a lot of the people if you want to fix some things, is always crowded at the bottom. And there's a lot of people that needs healing. And so as you get up and you learn things, just it's better to give it back to those individuals. So I wanted to talk to people just like yourself to be able to be impactful to my listeners, the people that's paying attention, because I Won't Starve is more than just something cute that I'm wearing, you know.
Right.
We're really building platforms, understanding that if we build a strong foundation, a strong platform, it doesn't matter where you go, you will be
That's
okay.
right.
Because everybody goes through something, but what is your platform? What are you rooted in? What strength do you actually have and be prepared for the fight? And so that's what Stand Tall and Reclaim Victory every day means, that you have the capability to do just that every day, because every day is a fight in its own way. And so you got to continue to do it. Listen, I wouldn't have it no other way to have this conversation with this beautiful young lady right here today. Let everybody know how they can contact you, how they can follow you on social media, and also follow the show.
Okay, awesome. So you guys can catch me. I'm usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys can go and follow the radio show on the Beautiful Butterfly radio show page on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram at the Beautiful Butterfly Show, Twitter, Butterfly Show. So as most people can say nowadays, you can Google. But yeah, you can find me on Facebook. At Bianca Fly on my personal page as well. You know, hit me up, connect. You never know what type of connections you can make with people. So don't think sometimes people are out of your realm, or they may not be interested in what you have to say or what you have going on. It's always important just to make that first step. So yeah.
Listen, y'all better hurry up, because she's going to be in a situation you're not going to be able to contact her on Facebook like that. So y'all hurry up and get connected today. Get connected immediately, because she is definitely going up. And the prices are going up. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
I love it.
And so you're going to have to come up with a bag to go see her, but it's worth it. You know, it's worth it. It's going to a worthy cause. It is what it is. She could, even if it was non-profit, it's for profit.
Okay.
She's doing her thing. But no, I really appreciate you so much for giving me some time today to talk to you. You guys, I know that when you hear this, anybody who tap in on YouTube or you tapping in on audio, you're going to love what you hear from her. Follow her. And you know how to follow us, www.jhaleem.com, www.iwon'tstarve.com. Go to S.T.A.R.V.E Talk page on YouTube, like and subscribe, comment, share, do everything you need to do. But more importantly, stay connected and stand tall and reclaim victory every day. I promise you, you won't regret it. I see y'all next time. Have a great one.
I'm in the studio with J Haleem.
I'm in the studio with J Haleem.
I'm in the studio with J Haleem.
I am in the studio with J Haleem. I'm in the studio with J Haleem.
You are now in the studio with J Haleem.